Hello and welcome back. Our discussion for today will be about introduction to communication, including coding and decoding. This is Dr. Edward L. Padama, and before we start, please support the channel by clicking the subscribe button and the notification bell to alert you when a new video is uploaded. So let's start. To lay the groundwork for our discussion, let us discuss the content or the objectives of this video. Number one is to define communication and its etymology, discuss effective communication, identify the barriers of communication, explain the reason why we communicate, list and discuss the elements of communication, identify and explain coding and decoding, differentiate verbal from non-verbal communication, list and discuss the different types of verbal and non-verbal communication. So let's start with the term communication and its etymology. Etymology refers to its origin or the origin of the word. So in this case, the word communication came from the Latin word communicare, meaning to share, which is an act of conveying, transferring, or sharing meanings from one entity or group or person to another through the use of mutually understood signs, symbols, semiotic, which is the study of signs and symbols and their use or interpretation rules. So another is to impart or exchange ideas of information, to transfer feelings or emotion, or to convey a message, which is the outline or the nutshell of the function and purpose of communication. For communication to be effective, the following elements should be considered. Number one, it should be two-way. Next, it involves active listening. Another is that it should reflect the accountability of speakers and the listeners. It should utilize feedback, response, reply, or a reaction. It should be free from stress and clear and concise. Specifically, some of the reasons why communication is ineffective are the following. So the barriers to effective communication may be considered as the following: poor language skills, interruptions and noises on the background, overuse of idioms, emotional interference, absence of feedback, poor listening skills, and inattentiveness, not speaking with clarity, variations in accents in different countries, wrong perceptions and wrong inferences, information overload, miscommunications, punctuations, muddled messages, wrong assumptions. And other barriers include talking too much, not giving speaker time to express him or herself, being critical or judgmental, laughing at or humiliating the speaker, contradicting or arguing with the speaker, being disrespectful of speaker's belief, way of life, and lack of trust on the speaker. Now, why do we need to communicate? So have you ever tried to go on a whole day without talking or communicating with anyone else? The need to connect feeds the need to communicate. What does this mean? Everything that we are enjoying right now in terms of technology that facilitates communication is because we have a need to connect or to communicate with other people. And this is proven by Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Where will we see this specific need? It is on the third level. Under love and belongingness, you have friendship, intimacy, family, and sense of connection. Maslow's hierarchy of needs is a diagram that presents the basic, from the basic need up to the higher level need of an individual or a person. So, according to Maslow, a person has a sense of connection, a longingness to connect. Okay, that's why we need to communicate. We experience technological development and advancement in communication because there is an inner need for people to connect and communicate. Does this involve life and death? Maybe. There would come a time where some deaths are caused by their inability to communicate. So we are going to dwell deeper into that when we go on our class synchronous discussion online. Now, in order to facilitate effective communication, we are going to discuss the elements of communication. So these elements are represented by the following diagrams, and the elements are sender, encode, channel, decode, receiver, and feedback. So we are going to discuss this one by one. The sender is simply the person who is the source of the information. So we usually call them the speaker. And then we move on to encoding. Encoding is the process of selecting words, symbols, or gestures representing thoughts and ideas to be conveyed. So on the part of the speaker, when he tries to organize his thoughts and try to choose the words that he uses when speaking his thoughts, this is already the process of encoding. The next element is channel. The channel refers to a bridge or a way in order to convey the message. In this case, we use language. So the language should be similar to the language understood by the receiver or the listener. Okay? The next element is decode. Decode will be on the end of the receiver or the listener. So when the speaker uses his voice in order to transmit his knowledge, the listener would now try to make a meaning of those words or even the noises or audio that the receiver hears. So decoding is defined as the process of converting the message coming from the speaker into an interpreted meaning. Now, the receiver, as we have mentioned earlier, is the listener. Okay, and then the last element, going back to the sender, we have the feedback. The feedback simply refers to the 3 R's: reply, response, and reaction. Okay, so the receiver, upon hearing the information or the message or the thought or idea coming from the speaker, should provide a feedback to the speaker. Now we go to the different types of communication, and we have 2, verbal and non-verbal. Now we go to the etymology of the word verbal. Verbal originated from the Latin word verbum, and then verbalis, and then in English it was known as verb, and then in the late 15th century it became verbal. So the meaning of verbal, according to the definition, is simply word. Verbal refers to word or the use of words. By definition, it is an adjective relating to words, verbal ability consisting of or in the form of words. So there are 2 types of verbal communication, and these are oral and written communication. That's why written communication is still classified as verbal, because when you write, you use words in order to communicate your ideas through writing. So simply put, verbal means word. And when you use words in communicating, going back again, it is classified as verbal. So we go on to the second type of communication, which is nonverbal. So by definition, nonverbal is the opposite of verbal communication, defined as not involving or not using words. So these emoticons are known as nonverbal communications. But if we are going to use them in individual personal communication as a human being, this refers to the communication of emotions. So this will come into facial expressions. So these emoticons are representation of facial expressions of people in order to communicate what they are feeling. Going on deeper on the different types of nonverbal communication, we have number 1, body language, and the scientific name is kinesics. So this refers to posture, gesture, and facial expression. So what is posture? Posture is the position and bearing of your body. Again, posture is the position and bearing of your body. So posture refers to the way you stand, the way you sit, the way you walk, and the way you run. Bearing refers to the location of your body. So it communicates something. When you're sitting and you're slouching while you sit, this communicates that you are bored with what you are doing or with what you are listening to in that particular moment. Okay? Next is gesture. Gesture involves 3 of your body parts, which is your hand, your arm, and your shoulder. So the use of these parts combined together this forms gesture. So when you point to a place or a destination, that is already considered as a gesture. When you move your hands, when you speak, that is already again considered as a gesture. Facial expression, as we mentioned earlier, involves the use of your eyes, your mouth, and your facial muscles to move these parts in your face to represent what you are feeling. Touch, or the scientific name is haptics. So when you touch somebody or tap somebody on the shoulder, or you touch them at the back because you want to console them, that is considered as haptics or non-verbal communication. Vocalics or paralanguage. Paralanguage is meta-language or beyond language. So there is no word used, but there are sounds coming out of your mouth. And that is paralanguage. So when you shout without using words, that is an example of the use of paralanguage. The next one is distance or proxemics. And under this, you have intimate, personal, social, and public. This identifies and classifies your relationship with people. So, intimate refers to your relatives, mother, father, brother, sister. So, you are in close proxemics with these people. Personal refers to your close friends. And then social refers to your acquaintances. Public refers to people that you are familiar with because you see them every day. Hello, and thank you for joining me in this discussion of Introduction to Communication that includes decoding and encoding. And again, please support the channel by clicking the subscribe button and the notification bell to alert you when a new video is uploaded. And if you have any questions on educational technology, on education, communication, research writing, place them at the comment box below this video and I will immediately get back to you. See you on the next video. God bless and stay safe.